first heat stroke injury wasn't until 1954, nothing before that. And then the numbers kept increasing. And they had a high of 8 in 1970. And they were down to 0, 1 or 2, but almost every year there's been a heat stroke death. And if you look at the medical literature, everybody says that heat stroke injuries or deaths are preventable if you take the proper precautions. And my concern is that since 1995, there have been 42 heat stroke deaths in football, which is a pretty good number. When you say, you know, this is preventable, and now you have
42 heat stroke deaths.
Since 1995, yeah.
Wow.
We've had some this year already. And again, it goes back to coaches being smart. You know, it's 100 degrees outside, high humidity. Kids are in full football gear, which covers most of their body. You know, why are you practicing 2 o'clock in the afternoon and not 6 o'clock in the morning or later in the evening when it's cooler?
Yeah.
You and I talked about not getting water when you were a player. I remember those days. And Coach came out with an ice cup full of grape juice for himself. Yeah. And he didn't want to finish. He couldn't finish it. So we were there with our tongues hanging out, and he just poured it out on the ground. And thank God those days are over.
That's right.
But you still have to give kids water in today's world. And it's not going to hurt them. It's going to make them a better player. And the last 3 or 4 years have been a preventive measure where you have a tub or a baby pool on the sidelines full of ice water. And if a kid's temperature, they're not feeling good, starts to get hot, take his clothes off and put him in that ice water. And it drops that temperature down dramatically. Wow. So that's something a lot of schools are starting, not a lot, but many schools are starting to think about.
So that's a pretty good remedy then. If you got to get an ice tub on the sidelines at practice, right. Especially if you're somewhere in a high heat zone, right. And if a kid gets to a place, give me some of the symptoms that I might be noticing. If I'm an athlete, I'm working hard, I've been running, I'm losing weight, but right on the field, but I don't really realize it because I haven't weighed out yet. But I'm starting to feel some things. Yeah. What am I feeling? Describe that to me.
Oh, you're feeling wobbly. You don't know where you are. You can't talk coherently. You might collapse. You might not. You're really weak. Yeah. So if trainers there to coach, get the kid in the shade, get his helmet and clothes off, and put him in an ice water, and boy, it comes right down.
Drops the temperature down.
Yeah.
Gets him back in the normal range.
Yeah. Some of the pro teams are using they have a little pill, a computer pill, that you swallow. And then the trainer has a device puts in your back area, and he can tell what your temperature is from that device that you swallowed. Really? So when you get over 102, 103, takes you out of play right then and there, puts you in a cool area, take your helmet off and cool you down. And but they're expensive, so of course, I think they're $40 each or something like that. But the pros can afford them. Yeah. High schools and colleges, I think they may use them here. I'm not sure. Yeah. But the high schools, of course, can't.
With all the sports drinks now, and they market like crazy the sports science and drink this little drink before and hydrate this and hydrate that. But that in itself is not going to stop you. With 102 degrees and you're running for 4 to 5 to 6 hours, 3 or 4 hours actually practice. That little 2-ounce drink or 8-ounce drink is not going to effectively hydrate your body for hours upon hours of hard exertion.
Right, and they tell you that, and it's good. It's a good thing to think about. Drink before practice. Drink during practice, and then rehydrate after practice. And like you mentioned, weighing in and weighing out. So the kids weigh in the morning, they weigh out at night after practice, and if they lose 2 to 3% of their body weight, they hold them out until they gain that weight back. Because the kid will come in the next day after he's lost 5% of his body weight, and he's dehydrated, and then he's going through another practice, and that's where the problems start.
And it's impossible for him. And you're really better off as an athlete to sit and wait and let your body come back. And you're going to perform at a higher level. You're going to have greater success than you've had by performing when you're not quite ready, and then your life is
Right.
is preserved.
Right. There's no doubt about it.
So if I'm a coach and I'm setting up a system for my players that's the best system. Kind of walk me through a checklist of things that I need to establish to make sure that my athletes are all right.
I think one of the things is to know what the kids did that summer. So did the kids spend the summer picking cotton or working in a farm somewhere? Or did they spend the summer up in the mountains where they weren't acclimatized? And a lot of high schools now even are letting the kids work out during the summertime, which is a good idea. Okay, so you have that. And then most states have a number of days where you can't wear any equipment. So you're just working out, nothing on. And then you gradually work into your full equipment. And during this time, you're having the kids checked. And you always have cold water on the field for them to drink. And if a kid wants a drink, he can walk off and have a drink on the sideline without saying, "Can I get a drink?" or waiting for 30 minutes till I get a drink. And then the weigh in and weigh out. Every kid weighs in before practice. They weigh out after practice. And the next day, the same thing. See how much weight they've lost so they're not dehydrated the next day. And have an emergency plan. Have an emergency plan. Everybody knows what to do if a kid goes down on the field. The coach knows what to do. The athletic trainer knows what to do. The players know what to do. All the assistant coaches know what to do. How do I contact medical help? How do I contact ambulance? What do I do until the ambulance comes? All the first aid situations. Okay. Having the ice on the field, the ice water on the field to cool them down. If it's a head injury or a neck injury, what do we do for that? Yeah. So it's really important to have a good emergency plan. The coach is prepared for this. And like they say, it's preventable if you go through the right process.
Right. So training is important. Getting the proper training. In the same way as a coach is training the athlete, the coaches, we got to get the proper training, set the proper system up, so therefore the things that we're doing are helping our athletes have a long career, successful, and just a great life.